Good morning, gang. Happy Tuesday. Here we go again. All right. So I want to start this morning real quick saying tonight, live stream 50,000 subscriber giveaway. Should be a lot of fun. If you have not registered yet, you need to go on Sunday's video. That specifically says 50,000 subscriber giveaway instructions and put your name in on that video. Okay, that's where I'm going to be drawing everything from. So if you're going to be here tonight, make sure you go over to that video and get there. Then, as a special surprise, we are going to do a second live stream at 9 o'clock. There's going to be two of them. They won't just one not continue into the second. There's a special reason for that one. Some of you guys know what it is, but we're gonna have a little party tomorrow night. Okay. All right. So there's the quick housekeeping thing. I wanted to start with a funny, okay, and then I'll get into the meat of this video. But you know how every once in a while I find something that's just completely stupid. I mean, totally stupid. Well, I think we found the topper of them all for the things that the liberal left find as important. This story came out Monday night. I'm just going to read you the first three short paragraphs of this. The offspring of hippos, once owned by Colombian drug kingpin Pablo Escobar, can be recognized as people with legal rights in the United States following a federal court order. The case involves a lawsuit against the Colombian government over whether to kill or sterilize the hippos, whose numbers are growing at a fast pace and pose a threat to biodiversity. An animal rights group is hailing the order as a milestone victory in the long-sought efforts to sway the U.S. justice system to grant animals personhood status. But the order won't carry any weight in Colombia, where the hippos live. Okay. So yes. Now, the priorities that the Biden administration and the judicial system have are granting personhood to animals. Not kidding. My question is, can they vote? Hell, they don't have ID anyway, so why not? I mean, I don't know. Are dogs and cats traditionally Democrat or Republican? Hell, who knows? I just want to know this. If people can if animals can identify as people, can I identify as a dog and therefore I don't have to pay taxes? It's just a thought. All right. Yeah, I thought you guys would get a kick out of that one. This is what I want to talk about a little bit here this morning. Many of you probably saw Angry Prepper's live stream yesterday where he was filming the protest by city officials in New York, not city officials, by city employees, as it looked like, I guess from what I heard, somewhere around 5,000 of them. And I mean, this was everything: PD, fire department, sanitation workers, transit police, I mean, you name it, okay? Protesting the mandates, because yesterday was the day that they were effectively all put on unpaid leave. And so they made their views known on a march up the Brooklyn Bridge. Okay. Now, what was interesting, I mean, and again, we all know the same stories going on in Chicago where, Lori Lightfoot is screaming to all the collar counties saying, hey, send us your sheriffs. And the sheriffs say, right here, you created the problem. We're not fixing it for you. Okay. But where it gets interesting is this. Florida is now advertising, and mind you, a lot of New Yorkers retire in Florida, snowbird in Florida, whatever. Florida is now advertising to the New York City workers, move down here, we'll give you a job. Okay? Same in Chicago. Indiana is advertising in Chicago. You're a Chicago cop? Want to go back to work? Come work in Indiana. We'll hire you. This is the migration that's going to go on, okay? Historically, people move to where the work is. look at any time in history. Go back to the Dust Bowl. Why did everybody leave Oklahoma and head out to California? They couldn't grow anything out there, and the work was out in California. People were gold mining. They could start farming, whatever it was. You all remember when the auto industry in Detroit collapsed and everybody was moving to Texas. I mean, like a massive population of Michigan moved down to Texas. And the running joke in Michigan was last one out of Michigan, turn off the lights. Okay? Because people left. The work, when the auto industry left, that was the lifeblood of Detroit. And hence, people moved, went somewhere else. Happens all throughout time, constantly. Now, we know there's a big migration going on in the United States over politics, over taxes, over many things. I mean, Texas is seeing an influx of Californians, Colorado's seeing an influx of Californians, Idaho's seeing an influx of Californians. Why? Because the taxes are insane. The standard of living is dropping like a rock, and Gavin Newsom is having a contest with Joe Biden to see who can out-stupid the other one. But so I went and I took a look, and I wanted to see where people were moving to depending on what their life situation was. Okay, and it was kind of interesting because it was extremely different for families than it was for individuals. And again, you can probably take this into age level and maturity. Y'all know the saying, those who vote Republican before age 30 don't have a heart, and those who vote Democrat after age 30 don't have a brain. Okay. So I took a look at this. Most popular destinations for families. Mind you, by the time you've got a family, you're probably close to 30, all right, if not in your 30s. Naples, Florida. The one that threw me was this one. Barnstable, Mass. Okay, don't know why, all right, but okay. Cape Coral, Florida, Sarasota, Florida, Provo, Utah, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Port St. Lucie, Florida, Ocala, Florida, or Osala, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Wilmington, North Carolina, and Ogden, Utah. Extremely red across the board, with the exception of Barnstable, Mass. I can't figure that one out, okay? But I mean, Florida, North Carolina, Utah, that's South Carolina, that's where they're moving to, okay? So then you do the flip. The most popular destination for individuals. And again, this is probably what we used to call yuppies, okay? Your younger people, that are still single and, want to experience life. San Francisco, Denver, Seattle, San Jose, Portland, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Austin, Texas, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. 10 for 10, all hardcore blue in all big cities, okay? Now, you go back and you look in the families, and it's more of the, I don't want to say small towns, because, I mean, Myrtle Beach isn't tiny. I mean, Ogden, Utah isn't tiny. Sarasota, Florida isn't tiny. But they're not hopping metropolises, okay? As opposed to San Francisco, Portland, Baltimore, Austin. I mean, these are major cities, a couple of them in here, state capitals. So there's the difference where you're getting. What's this telling you? The younger people, the millennials for the most part, and your Gen Z, want to go for the social experiment, the liberal, the causes they believe in, instead of the Boston Tea Party, the Seattle Coffee Party, all the crazy stuff. The people who wake up and go, gee, you know what? I've got a wife and kids I need to feed, or a husband and kids. Okay. I might want to go somewhere where it's a little safer and not as crazy. Now, I get the fact that people move because when you're young, hey, you want the nightlife and everything. Okay, that's fine. Trust me, you're not moving out to where I am going, woohoo, let's get into the Sharps Chapel, Tennessee nightlife, because there ain't any. All right, so I get that part. But it's very economically driven and very politically driven where people are going. You know, sure, there are the one-offs. You know, there's the 60-year-old person who lives in Portland. There's a lot of them, obviously, or whatever, you know, especially Los Angeles or something like that, sure. But you talk to most of those people and they're like, oh my God, I wish I could get the hell out of here. You know, now, if they're working, they're moving, okay? They're looking for somewhere that is going to be better. But this is what you're going to see. We've talked about many times between the difference between the red states, the blue states, the difference between liberals and conservatives. We've talked, you know, the whole thing. This is how the migration is starting to spread. You're seeing all the young kids who are happy with this moving into the big cities. That's where they're wanted, okay? That's where green everything is going to be wonderful. You're seeing all the mature people, okay, intelligent people going, get me the hell out of this cesspool. You know, I want to be able to think for myself. I don't need the nanny state, and they're moving somewhere else. Depending on where you are, guys, is going to make a big, big, big difference into what kind of support network you're going to have, what kind of problems you're going to have as this all keeps falling apart. You know, just be aware of where you are. If you're the little red island in a sea of blue, you're not going to do good. Okay. You know, even one wolf surrounded by a bunch of sheep is in trouble. So try to figure it out, guys. I know it's impossible for a lot of people to move, you know, financially, schools, whatever it would be. But where there's a will, there's a way. If you want it bad enough, you can make it happen. All right. But make sure you get yourself safe. Find yourself somewhere that you can make a good living. You know, I say this in my job all the time. You know, you got to think about where you're going. Too many times I talk to somebody who, I'll just make something up, lives in Denver, and there's a really good job for him in Oklahoma City. And they're like, well, I make $120,000 now, so I need $120,000 then. Not necessarily. If the cost of living is 2/3, you know, maybe you only need $80,000 in Oklahoma City to maintain the same kind of life. And again, I'm just making up cities here. Okay. But you get what I'm saying. Why are people moving from California to Texas? Because they can sell their little 60-year-old bungalow for $500,000 and go buy themselves 20 acres in Texas with the same amount of money. You know, this is the thing. Sometimes you can use the economy to your advantage, guys. And right now, if you are in one of these places where you have the ability to sell at a premium, jobs are everywhere. We know that. I mean, the joke the other day about some guy doing an interview, I think it was somebody sent this to me, it was on TikTok or something like that. You know, it's like, yup, you pass, breathe into this mirror. Yup. Okay, you have a pulse and you're breathing, you're hired. That's pretty much it right now, guys. I mean, it's very difficult to not find a job if you want one. Okay, and decent jobs too, not just flipping burgers. Take a look around, assess your situation, assess your circumstances. It might be time to make that move. Have a good one. Pinball out, other than seeing you tonight.